And we're back here at the Overwatch Beat Invitational Season 5. And now we go back to the other end of the coin, the other side of the spectrum, so to speak. And I've really just mixed both of these terms up, but it's totally fine. We're hanging the Toronto Esports versus LNL. Both teams undefeated here so far. And this match going to be a best out of 5, and certainly one that very well could go the distance.
Yeah, it absolutely could. This is a team, last night's leftovers, that is a lot different than what we saw last season. This was an up-and-coming team, a few months ago, where going into contenders, they really stepped things up. They had a quick turnaround. You can see the effect of that as a lot of their players are moving on to other pastures, as you mentioned before. They brought in a couple of new players as well, and off the back of bringing those guys in and having the benefit of having some new blood in there, they are really surging in a way that a lot of other teams are kind of struggling, actually. I mean, they look cohesive in ways that other teams just aren't as much so in a lot of regards. We're seeing a lot of connection with their DPS, their supports are looking phenomenal. Ajax and Dogman feel like they've been playing together for like a year, it seems, in a lot of these situations. So last night's leftovers looking incredibly good, in my opinion, while Toronto Esports playing with a stand-in, actually giving a stand-in
other way around.
away.
It's LNL
exactly.
It's
LNL playing with the stand-in from
Dalton's
Toronto
playing against
Esports.
his own team, though. Like,
yeah, exactly.
There is a little bit of betrayal and backstabbing here.
This is weird. But nonetheless, he is going to be playing in, and they are permitting it. They let him do it. Toronto Esports said he could totally do it. So, I feel like they feel pretty solid regardless, because they do have asking, and asking is, absolutely disgusting. And to move on to a map and start here on Ruins, to have a Widowmaker like asking, that's certainly a big bonus to have on your team over someone like Dalton, who I think in that specific matchup with Widow v Widow, he may struggle, but I think Dalton's still just such an incredible talent that to allow another team that you're opposing in this kind of matchup in the winners finals now to have a guy like Dalton, that's incredibly nice of Toronto Esports to extend that kind of olive branch.
So you just started roboting to me super hard there at the end. But one thing I will note here is that, part of this could be going into the calculus for the Toronto Esports side, is that Dalton right now was set as a backup for them. So if Dalton could be a huge part of LNL here, even though he's filling in, there's a world where, who knows, maybe LNL decides that they want to go for that buyout for Dalton, whatever it may be, and everyone wins in the end. So it makes sense. And by the way, you want to talk about hitscan v hitscan battles, and time for a little bit of revenge. Dalton going to be going up against a man who very well could have taken his job. Dalton versus asking to start this out.
And this is a good opportunity for Toronto to really pin them against each other in a solid environment where they're going to get a lot of resources and see how these two interact against each other.
We'll see the Widow v Widow setup. Dalton does immediately go for it. Didn't like what he saw. Going to the outside. Oh, asking takes the first one. So asking for now, putting Toronto ahead. Nero, though, falls to Sugarfree on the other end. We didn't talk much about Sugarfree in the preamble, but he is the superstar X Factor for LNL. A player that likely will be in the Overwatch scene for a very long time to come. But it's going to be Toronto taking first control here off of that early pickoff from Asking.
And now we'll see Asking looking for that setup. Again, trying to contest Dalton in the back, who just hasn't found much of anything. But luckily, his team has done so much with the fact that they are able to just pigeonhole everybody inside of a corner and just play off of that.
Asking, ripping LNL apart right now. Shot after shot. Not to be matched here by Dalton so far, despite his performance a day ago. Barrier is invested by LNL. And bear in mind that LNL did get control of the point. So even though Toronto has been winning the battle here, the war is kind of passing them by, at least a little bit. They gave up control even while at an edge. So it's actually not the worst case scenario for LNL.
These matchups, these mirror matchups between the DPS are just going to be so insane to watch as we progress through this series. Sugarfree versus Nero, Dalton versus Asking. That's so much to look after, especially when you have other things to try to keep your eye on. But I think that's just going to be such a pivotal thing to keep your eye on. And I honestly don't even know what to expect between these two. Normally I have an opinion. You know me well enough. I have an opinion, but this time around, I just don't.
Well, you're going to see walls versus walls start to get out here. Infrasight v Infrasight. All Widows can see everything. Everything is even. Look for the Widow on the other side. Ooh, Asking had a shot. Doesn't quite connect. Dalton didn't really give him the greatest opportunity. He was real close, and Dalton just under fire. Asking by far more pressure here. Meanwhile, LNL is just trying to find a way in. Time is passing them by all the while here. They haven't been able to really challenge a point. The Infrasight is gone for both teams, and you just feel the will and pressure Aske is putting on the game. Does get a nanoed Winston in his face. Gator taking matters into his own hands, but the barrier keeps Asking in a good spot. Still well protected. Dino punishes Gator, and the front line for LNL is down.
Dino does wind up coming through. A big play from him to help shut that down with a sleep dart. They had already kind of caught him off guard. Gator was forced into the back line, but he's going to make a swap, and Dino may not see this one coming. The pile driver from a mile away. Oh, it takes out Asking immediately.
Gator finding a little bit of room here, Asking out of it, but oh, he's gone, and this is a little bit awkward. My eyeglass lens just fell out of one of my glasses, so I am doing this with only vision in my left eye. This is weird. It's a little bit awkward, in fact, but Toronto, it really is. Narrow gonna move forward, 3 extra pickups here for Toronto. And Toronto, off the Widow play of Asking, has been absolutely on fire here so far.
Oh, Gator trying to get back in there. Not going to make it happen, though. Toronto Esports, they gave up a very talented player in Dalton, lent that olive branch, but they're still getting the job done with Asking, who, in this Widow matchup, he is just definitely setting the bar a lot higher than what Dalton has been able to accomplish so far. But when we get away from these Widow matchups, I think this is where Dalton can really step things up and take it to Asking in a way where he's not going to be able to commit in the same regard. Dalton on the Sombra is going to be, I think, a big change, a big adjustment for last night's leftovers to come back into this one. Toronto Esports dominant in the first set. I think this is an opportunity with the, actually changing things up completely. Last night's leftovers putting Gator back onto the Hammond, and they're going to go with the Hack Fist.
And this could be quite good for LNL, where Sombra Doomfist does do pretty reasonable against GOAT-style competitions or compositions, 3-3, as it were. So we'll see if this is a little bit more up Dalton's alleyway. Going for it, looking for the hack on Dino, doesn't quite get it. Moving back over, pressure in, Swimmer down very early on, and LNL so far doing okay. But they lose Gator, and the Hammond here is pretty important. Decod under pressure, gonna fall. And it's scrappy, but LNL is starting to carve out a reasonable situation here. Now they just got to get to the point.
And just push them off of it as well, because they have control, but it's all about winning that first fight. We've mentioned that before. That's going to be the most important aspect of this, the first section of this map.
Well, Sugar Free was certainly able to get in there with an early pickoff, as Doomfist is very good, much like the rest of his hero pool, and just rolling in, making space, and Tao, it's time to fly, and you need to find something big. Decod, though, get a shield off the worst of that Meteor Strike, and oh, did he just get knocked off? He did. Ajax and Sugar Free, the double combination boop, and yet, finally, you do see LNL take control of the point.
Maybe a little bit too late to have that same value that we saw earlier in the day, where we saw a flip at 15. 24 might be a little bit further along, where they may not come away with as much momentum as they really wanted to. And over the top, Dalton looking for that EMP. He's going to catch everybody here.
Dalton to the back, drops the EMP. It's a nice one. Dino immediately falling. Just no abilities for Toronto to get themselves out of it. Gator swinging on in. And this disruption from LNL has been fantastic here so far. Dalton definitely having a way better time in the Sombra, but hey, I get back to the point. Don't let it cap for free. LNL still in control.
Swimmer gets back over and allows some extra healing to come out for Dino. And on this Ana, he needs it to have the ability to pull out the nano boost. That's going to be big for them to be able to cleave out a lot of these targets. But here's the thing, Asking what kind of value is going to get out of the grab. It's hard to say, because this entire composition from last night's leftover is going to be so hard to keep them into one spot.
Do you see the Celtics Sword come on in? Toronto, though, able to just shrug it on off. Graviton ready. Gator knocks off 2, going the other way. Big plays coming in from Gator, but you do see on the other end, Toronto able to make the most of it, turn it back the other way, and keep control of the point.
Seems like in controlled situations, Toronto has the advantage, but when things dive into chaos, it's last night's leftovers with the upper hand. And it's not just the composition, they just prefer this scrappier level of play, it seems, and the composition just plays into all of it. Sugar Free coming through. You're going to see this man's name pop up everywhere in the coming months, as this guy is a talent.
Well, he's a talent. The only thing he wasn't really good at was being born in the right year, because it'll be a while till he can get in the Overwatch League, but certainly dominant in the contender scene.
He dodged it.
Nice setup. Meteor strike just in the nick of time. Back the other way, going down, finds Dino. Sugar Freeze Doomfist just regulating this game right now. LNL, one fight away from bringing this to an all-decisive round number 3.
EMP at the ready for Dalton again, and this is that change that I expected a little bit sooner, but Nero and Asking going over to Sombra Tracer respectively to try to contest this. Again, though, that hack that could come out could shut them both down very, very easily and very quickly.
Dalton holding on to the EMP, waiting for it. Decod down, still decides to drop it anyways because now it's the time to finish strong. 2 down from Toronto already. LNL just craving to get to that final round. Crackalacken falls into the mines. It's not going to go well. And Dalton coming back with a vengeance here for LNL on the Lighthouse stage.
And Swimmer is trying to maneuver his way back onto the point as Decod has made his way as well. They're trying anything that they can to sleep dart onto Dalton from the Ana. Dino.
It's just clean up here from LNL. You just do everything right. Don't give up any stupid pickoffs. You're going to take the round. And now, as we go to the well, it's going to be real scrappy, which might favor LNL here because, again, they don't have to worry about, or sorry, it might favor LNL because they don't have to worry about Asking doing terrible things on the Widowmaker.
He will instead be on a different hit scan, and that's going to be McCree. And again, that same matchup as both teams opting for the protect the McCree strat. However, Gator known for doing different things. I can remember back, what was it, six, 7, maybe 8 months ago, something in that ballpark, where this man plays Torb as a main tank. I mean, he is known for playing things a little bit differently. And I think this is just another instance of just that, where he's going to be playing the Orisa, trying to counteract the dive that they expect to come through from Toronto.
He was also known for being a goat while clearly being an amphibian. I mean, who knows all the different ways in which Gator can bend the rules of reality, but we've seen a little bit here. Orisa comp out, certainly a difference between the two teams, where LNL going to be playing around the anchor tank. Meanwhile, for Toronto, they're rotate for ways of diving in. But this does favor LNL the longer this goes, where they're just rotating around. They're making the offense really work against this, and the way this is going, they're very likely to get first control, and they do.
It's going to be hard to de-nest them as well, as they have such a hold on this corner, easily able to isolate anybody that jumps on top of them.
Nice stuff coming in. They isolate Crackalacken immediately, get the quick DMEC. Dalton well protected all the while, and so far, LNL having more success here. And I do wonder if we'll see any form of swap here. Maybe this is where you bring in a Pharah. You will be seeing the Sombra come in from Toronto, if nothing else. And okay, Hanzo.
Well, Asking is a very, very solid Hanzo as well. I mean, both of those snipers he has a lot of proficiency with. I saw him a lot last season as well of Pit. So, I mean, he definitely can pull this off here. It's just about making sure that he finds the right targets, and they need to nail down that barrier that's coming from Gator's Orisa in order to open up avenues for Asking to find these picks.
Dalton just so well protected here behind the Orisa. Deadeye up, of course, doesn't have to use it until there's a truly opportune time. Do have the nice Bionade come in, though, makes Orisa think twice. Dalton rolls back in, got as low as 30 HP, healed right back on up. Supercharger in, and starting to do some real damage from LNL. They use it to chase down Decod out of the fight. And LNL now about 2 fights away, Hurix, from running away with map 1.
Asking, surging forward, gonna get caught in a corner. He's certainly gonna go down, but he will not go down without accruing that Dragon Strike. Looking for him to pull that out in the next fight. But look how far ahead Last Night's Leftover is, playing into the Orisa. That is certainly giving them a lot of favor in this matchup. Nero swapping to the Junkrat. They're really just going to try to put as much pressure down into Gator's shield as possible to open up those opportunities for Asking to find the picks, and certainly the Dragon Strike is going to help enable that.
See the Dragon coming on out here from Toronto. Last gasp out from Asking, doesn't do much. Sound barrier in. The response excellent from LNL so far. Self-destruct coming over the top for Crackalacken. Is going to connect? No, not quite. Meanwhile, it's High Noon. Dalton looking for the Deadeye, but overall, Asking is able to get a few pickoffs. Decon made enough room, and Toronto not quite out of it here yet. as we're going to see Hawk go down into the pit, but as a team, this is fine. 99% to 0, plenty of options going forward.
I think if you're last night's leftover, if you start getting batted around there and you know that your Zen is in a bad position, you get that call out, you hold on to everything else, right? That's what you want to do. You want to allow them to use everything that they have so that you have a very, very heavy advantage going into the next fight. Now they're going to have to take time to build things up, and they're going to give more time for Toronto Esports to potentially catch up.
Asking off the dragon. Oh boy, 3 immediately devoured. Well timed, well placed. And Toronto's going to need more of that if they want to bring this back and take map 1.
A lot of time still left on the board. Over a minute that Toronto has to control for. Can't let it go for more than 2 seconds, or they will lose this map here, along with the round, obviously. But as we look towards this, Nero on the Genji, looking to put some pressure down. They have stuns available to counteract any of his aggression that might come out alongside Decod. But yeah, what a nice biotic grenade.
Dino was doing this all day yesterday, does it here again. Just nothing LNL could have really done. Asking, though, does overextend a little bit, gets himself picked off. Hawk uses the self-destruct to make a little bit of room, and now LNL going to wait for respawns, go back in, but a lot of their buffer is gone.
We're going to see Nero getting dangerously close to that blade with that nano boost available as well. That could be an opportunity for them to win this next fight. Self-destruct over the top as well.
Self-destruct over. LNL, though, now time to invest the rally. Coming right back on in. Charging over, but here's a dragon once more. Nero, though, almost picked off early. Can't follow it up with a blade. Had to go back and heal. LNL, they shrug off the dragon. They're in a perfectly fine situation. They have a Transcendence Ray for Nero, who still has not gotten healed an incredible long period of time. That's because Dino's down. Swimmer, though, big boop, knocks off 2. Toronto still in it. Barrier up. Nero, cut back the other way. Blade ready. Guess he Dogman uses Transcendence under pressure. Nero rotating around, waiting for his time. Transcendence over. Blade now ready. Guess he Decon move on in. Nero waiting and waiting. Dogman down, and Toronto about to pull this back, perhaps. They have an edge in this fight. Overtime, though, is in progress. They lost control midway through, and LNL now back with a vengeance. Here comes Nero. Blade going in.
Oh, he finds Sugar Free, not able to connect on the stun, but backed into a corner. He's not going to be able to get much more than that, and might be isolated by, of all things, a Lucio.
Oh, LNL able to keep themselves, and its point control still theirs, and they take map 1 away from Toronto.
Last night's leftovers really forced to battle it out in order to take that map there. I mean, it was coming down to the wire. Really could have been the impact of the blade coming from Nero, but great job, again, isolating him, forcing him to pop the deflect, taking away the value of the blade. He didn't have as much support there as they were just under duress throughout the entire time, but you can see this play from Swimmer. And this is why Toronto picked him up. A lot of people may not know much about Swimmer. Really made quite a meteoric rise, actually, to his current position on this team, where Toronto Esports obviously looking like a pretty solid team. But you know, coming out from Dogman, Akita, I believe, was the version of Dogman that he came from, and then moving on to Skyfox, is quickly transitioning to Toronto Esports. So again, that meteoric rise, you can see why teams love having him on the roster. He brings a lot in terms of mechanics, but also in terms of in-game leadership.
Speaking of mechanics and the important, really, aspect of doing things like seeing, this is a rare moment where the caster is going to ask for a production break so I can fix what has happened here. I've lost my glasses lens. I actually need to fix this, or I'm going to have one serious headache. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break or thereabouts while I fix this wardrobe malfunction that's going on. It'll be good to go for the next map. So guys, stay tuned. All right, and we're back here at the Overwatch Beat Invitational Season 5, where I have regained vision in my right eye, where thank God for that. Look, as it turns out, that intense Overwatch can apparently induce blindness by causing a glasses lens to fall out of your glasses for no apparent reason. I don't know what happened, but what I do know here is that next map we're going into is going to be King's Row.
And I'll tell you what, it's been a long day of casting so far. I mean, I started before we actually wound up going into B, and I'm pretty hungry. And that time frame that we had with you fixing your glasses would have been a perfect time frame for me to just pound a Soylent real quick. But I don't have any, and I'm really wishing that wasn't the case, because I would have been able to get so much more done and been so much better in terms of my energy, delivery, and everything if I would have had a Soylent for that small time window that we had.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's certainly a part of it. And by the way, Chad is coming up with the theory of, hey, ZP, why don't you just get laser surgery? Let me
Put your
tell
eye
you
back
that
in.
they don't make lasers that strong, okay? My prescription is a negative 16.5. If I lived in the Stone Age, if I even lived, I don't know when modern glasses were invented, but if I lived before then, I would die to just some random animal or just trip over myself. I don't know. I am grossly reliant on modern technology to live and also to see. That's my story.
There's a bunch of animals for you to die from right here in our tournament. I mean, you've got sky foxes, you've got goats, you've got gators, you've got dogmen, you've got hawks. What else we got? We got dinos or dinos. It is
the
Dino.
dino
It is
sounds like
Dino,
the
but let's say
scariest.
Dino for the case of this.
Are you sure? Because
it is Dino, yeah.
But his Twitter picture is that of a dinosaur.
Yeah, but he's just called Dino. I mean, I don't know why, but I've been casting him since Open Division. It's Dino. I don't know.
Did he say this though? Because he definitely has a picture of a dino.
He does.
Twitter.
You're not wrong, but it is Dino. And someone in chat can verify that for sure. I'm positive.
I'm getting mixed messaging here from. I'm gonna call him Dino until you're otherwise, but this is like real mixed messaging. But we do, speaking of Dino, we do have a Torbjorn in play as Decog takes down Gator early on. Offense here, we're looking for a way through, but the Torbjorn defense from Toronto, interesting. We'll see just how it works out.
All right, playing positionally, again, just playing out the rotations, but they have those other threats, Nero and Asking being a primary threat, already shutting down Sugar Free, one of the key targets for them in this matchup, this double sniper setup from last night's leftovers.
Well, the interesting thing here about the sniper setup for Toronto as well is that it also gives more room to Taurus. Dino just slam dunks Dalton. Oh boy, okay, Torb is working out. Not really close to a Molten Core, but it is a distraction here for Asking.
Sugar Free, Dalton, need to find these picks, and it's gonna be so tough given the fact that DCOD is gonna be there to provide those shields. So they have to find some way to batter down the shields, and it's going to be kind of down to Gator, Dogman, and to some degree Sugar Free as well to make that happen. But things have slowed down exponentially, especially now that the pick came out onto Ajax, where they're just going to be having to wait for that entirely now.
And you take a look here, the Ulticom is certainly going to be in their favor. Nero holding on to the Rip Tire, and it's not Asking getting a pick off. If he's not able to deliver on that, guess what? You get the Tire. That is the next level of the defense. Nero starting to back on over. It's Tire time. Dino's turret, it's gone. Nero's Tire going up over a Mondata statue over the top, taken down. Sugar Free pierces it with the arrow. No stand required. As Sugar Free then come back the other way, holding on to the Dragon Strike. This is his time. He can drop the Dragon right over the Orisa. Deal with the Junkrat if need be, but for now, holding on. Dalton, the fine swimmer, and LNL starting to pierce on through.
And it's Dogman in the back line, dealing the damage as he's able to find a couple of picks and also take Kraken Lakin for a ride, a journey along the whole hog. And honestly, stepping things up in a big way as last night's leftovers playing for that pick comp. It's Dogman getting the job done.
I'm just sad that we didn't get to see puddles of molten goodness come out from Tor, but someday. Dino going back to his age-old Ana.
Everybody in chat finally catching up on that Dino, and everybody's just typing his name and saying that's what it is.
Yeah, that's how phonetics work, guys, in English. Very good language, by the way. Sugar Free takes down Decon immediately. The arrow, true. Toronto probably wants it back out here. You don't have the Reinhardt anymore. It could be bad. They lose Nero. Now it's got really bad. Dino going, what am I going to do? You're going to fall. You're going to fall. The Ajax dropping the beat right all over you. As Toronto now needs to back up in a hurry, and Gator more than willing to help them back to spawn.
Well, what we can do is we can just break rule number 1 of caster consistency and just say both. I'll say Dino, you say Dino. One of us will be wrong. It's fine.
I say potato, you say potato, tomato, tomato. English. What a great language. English, by the way.
But Toronto Esports coming back in. They've made a couple of swaps here, and we've seen that on both sides. Now teams playing into the Ana Goats, looking aggressive here. 3 minutes on the clock for LNL, trying to set things up. Sugar Free took the better end of that shield bash there.
Ooh. Cracklock can find Sugar Free. Didn't have a shield at the time to deal with it. Gets caught. Hawk returned the favor. Both Zaryas getting blown up. Bad day to be a Russian bodybuilder this time around. But Decon drops a hammer. His aggressiveness paying off. Nothing the supports of LNL can do. They are simply dispatched.
Funny thing is, too, that Gator had an opportunity to stand up, set right back down, though. Toronto Esports taking advantage of that downtime with Gator. And remember, this is the tank that was at the forefront of developing, or rather popularizing the comp, and he's playing it here. So we want to see a little bit more here against Decon.
He just charged into a wall from like 2 inches away as you were huffing him up. You think you can cast or curse people? Oh, nice bio nade from Dogman. Gator going on forward, looking for more. Oh, charged by Decon. Decon able to make space, takes down Dalton. Gator isolated, and Toronto gonna take it. And by the way, we're talking about the entire Dalton versus Toronto setup. Don't forget Decon versus LNL. There's grudge matches all over the place here.
All over the place indeed. They're just trading players, but honestly, right now it seems like LNL is really getting the better end of the deal. But at the moment, Toronto Esports turning things around here on this map as they have gotten so aggressive on their defense. Decon pushing through and having a good old time as they're coming away with a bunch of ultimates, looking stocked for this next fight. And a big one to look out for in this choke is, of course, Decon's, but asking is going to be pivotal as Sugar Free is going to be combating him straight up. Look for these bio grenades inside of them as well to find more impact than what would otherwise be occurring.
Right now, I'm looking to narrow the Decon right now. You have the Gravitons as a threat, but you have a rally. Brigida can go right in. Gator, oh, shield bash, earth shatter, and done. What are you gonna do when Brigida rallies right over to you? Well, the answer is you're gonna get bashed and you're gonna fall. Exactly what happened there is Decon. How deep can one man go? Almost back to the first spawn, let alone the second.
Holding on to that Graviton as well. Maybe it's time you start putting Dogman onto the Roadhog more often so he can just pick his way to sweet, sweet victory as they did on that first point to unlock it. But now going forward, Toronto Esports, look how aggressively they're postured up still.
Grav coming out here from Sugar Free, asking to drop Grav.
Oh, what a biotic!
Both Gravs back to back, both teams purple, and Toronto gonna get the better of it. Oh, mirror matches in certain ways there, to say the least. Asking, going back the other way, 100 energy, and we're down to the final fight. 20 seconds left for LNL.
It was like Dino was a frame quicker than Dogman, and they're going to swap things up. They need to go aggressive here, and that Zen is going to allow just that. They're going to also plop Sugar Free onto the counter, and I think they might have wanted to do this a little bit sooner.
Dalton gonna roll on over, rally out, final chance for LNL. Is there a great overtime push in him? Narrow, gonna fall, but the shatter from Gator. Back the other way, they deal with the Brigida. Gator making space, but Dino and Decon back the other way. It's a brawl right now. The defense, though, trying to reestablish. LNL getting some momentum. Respawn's gonna be back in. Dino is down, and LNL still has life.
Well, Gator's asleep. Maybe they can push everybody else off the payload, but not going to be the case as everybody coming in from respawn. They have the advantage of that close spawn. They're going to take that advantage, search for it, get some extra distance earn for themselves. And last night's leftovers needed that fight. Sugar Free on this Doomfist needs a little bit more time to start feeling that rhythm and start dealing out the pressure that he needs to put out onto Toronto Esports here playing this composition. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that, yeah.
Even one pickoff would be good enough here. Even better if it was a Brigida before rally. Sugar Free holding a lot of fate in his hands right now. But of course, anyone he dives in on could get nano boosted. It's going to be difficult to see where this goes. But immediately just use the first rocket punch of Crackalack. Crackalack can push into a corner, about to get demech, but the grab in here from the defense, asking, sets up the ground, doesn't get anything, self-destruct on the other side from the Earth Shatter, takes down 2. Toronto holding here, Sugar-Free, unable to get the early picks. Transcendence out from Dogman, but it's likely not going to result in much of anything at all. It's only the supports left here. Brigida gonna fall, Dogman nowhere to go, and Toronto will hold LNL before second.
Really spotty attack from them, not what you would expect. And remember back to that first point hold, they were running a Torb on the side of Toronto Esports. They were playing that new version of the Torb, and it's not a joke. It actually was quite solid. They were able to hold out for quite a long time utilizing that. Pit came out from last night's leftovers, and it wasn't until Dogman found his way sneaking underneath up the staircase and around to finally enable that pick comp and get the picks that they actually needed to actually secure that objective and force the swap from Dino. But once they got the swap, I think they would have rather had him on Torb, to be honest, because once he was on the Ana, he was disgusting. I mean, we're talking filth from Dino right out of the gate with the Ana, outplaying Dogman, or rather, I guess outpacing him would probably be the best play in terms of having those biotics down first, making sure that you get the most value out of it.
I don't think it is an exaggeration to say that so far Dino has quite arguably been the best Ana that we have seen here in the tournament so far in that support role. He's been playing out of his mind, but of course there's been great plays on the other side as well. And now as we look towards the LNL defense, even though this is a tough situation for LNL, where usually teams do get further than second point on King's Row, it is not impossible to counter one good hold with another. So we'll just have to see what LNL has in store. There's no Torbjorn, but Hogman is now Torbman. Many hats this man has.
Many hats. He is pretty dynamic with his choices in terms of, hero pool diversity. He also has the ability to flex over to hit scans should that be required. That's what he played in the past before moving to flex support in general anyways.
Well, the turret's going to go down immediately. Dogman going to get a chance to put it back out in a moment. This is where Dalton needs to connect with a few shots instead. Gets a monkey right in his face. Winston coming on up. Narrow right over. The turret dies immediately. And Dogman can overload here. Go back the other way. Hammer comes out. Hammer goes down. Narrow just slicing and dicing his way through the top. It's not a clean setup here for Toronto, but it's what you need early on. You start whittling down the defense. You get the respawn edge. Asking piles on. And LNL likely going to be losing first point here in record time.
And this is dire straits too for LNL. I mean, you're definitely going to lose this point, and you're going to give up a massive time bank into the second phase of the map. In Streets phase here, it's all about holding down chokes, and so far, I think it's going to be really tough for them to hold this out. They need to make these adaptations where they're going to be looking as aggressive as what we saw from Toronto Esports, but I think Toronto Esports have just enabled their DPS too much. Yeah, too long.
5.5 minutes per second. I'm willing to entertain the idea of a good hold. They're going to be super aggressive to start things out here, but Dalton getting poked down from all sides, going the fall. Narrow just continues picking people apart with dash resets here. Toronto not even really phased by LNL trying to pull a ye old selfless here. Maybe they just forgot to say the battle cry of "Let's go, dudes" before they went in. That was actually a pretty vital component of that entire selfless spot camp strategy.
Nonetheless, we're going to have Toronto Esports going forward looking their version of aggressive, and they will have a lot of tools at their disposal to back up that aggression. They're going to have the setup of the Nano Blade coming through on top of everything. They might even have Asking decide to pop aggressively and very early on that Dragon Strike to section them off and force them into bad positions. As the blade comes out, everything is coming out.
Yeah, and everything is going down on the other side. LNL, last night's leftovers, completely consumed, out of the fridge, out of the game. And this map, Kings Row, now about to end, not with a bang, but with a whimper. Not even Hammond get back there in time. So that means the series is even up 1-1.
And already, I think we have our next map. If that's not Ajax saying holy, then it indeed is Hollywood that we'll be jumping into. But again, we were mentioning before how Asking, obviously was picked up because his Widowmaker is just disgusting. He also has a lot of prowess in terms of some of these other heroes, but the big one that I'm looking at is also the Hanzo. I saw him a lot playing with those.
No, I need to interrupt you and cut you off entirely. I
All
just asked Dino in game, is it Dino the dinosaur or Dino? He says it's the first one. I was right. Not only you can take that, but Twitch chat can take that as well. His picture was a dinosaur. Come on, guys.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Whatever. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. It's fine.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not completely
Dino is not
destroyed,
extinct.
My entire worldview is not thrown out. I mean, I'm not shattered completely right now, but I am.
I just feel the sweet taste of victory right now. This is fantastic. Also, we're going to Hollywood.
All right, good to ask though, because now we know, and now I won't make that mistake anymore. You were good. You stuck with it. I mean, you stuck with it just like I stuck through with Ezire. You stuck with Dino. You were right. I was wrong. It's fine. It's fine. We can move on from there.
Also, this means, guys, unleash your Jurassic Park memes. He fully is a dinosaur. That's right. Life finds a way, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go, dude.
Jeff Goldblum. Sometime in the 90s. I don't even know.
Good times. We're having good times. That's what we're having.
Yeah,
but as we jump into
absolutely.
Hollywood, I'm definitely going to expect to see some Genji play, some Sombra play. That's what we've seen throughout the day. I mean, Doomfist to be coming out for sure. We just know that certainly Nero is a guy that we're expecting to see that kind of thing from. Sugar Free. We just have too good of Genjis on the board to not see Genjis here. In tandem with Sombra's Asking versus Dalton, we're going to see that mirror matchup probably once again. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that. I would expect that to be almost entirely throughout. I wouldn't expect to see as much tank play as what we saw from a lot of other teams in this matchup in particular.
Definitely be interesting to see what comes out here. But as we look to the defense here first, it is going to be something that LNL has really liked running, where you run setups that let Sugar Free just have room to work with on the Junkrat. Also, Ajax, you're not DPS. Just please save us all the time. Go back and swap. But it is going to be Sugar Free behind Gator here on the cafe, and getting through Junkrat will be the first test.
A lot of teams have really struggled, actually, with breaking down this Orisa high horse type of style, whatever you want to call it. It really comes down to just punishing rotations, punishing that backline, setting things up, and keeping them congested into that small area and kind of just choking them out over time. A lot of teams go aggressive and meet their maker in the form of a Junkrat. Obviously, a lot of times you also see a McCree to have the stun backup there as well, but Dalton instead going to be on the Soldier 76. It's actually good to see a little bit more Soldier 76 in this tournament that we've seen so far.
Well, you've buffed him, you've made him a lot better, so at some point players are going to notice and go, you know what, I do like running a good old Soldier 76, and a lot of swaps coming out here so far. It's going to be up to Dalton to put some pressure on this Pharah.
And we'll see those rotations happening already as everybody forced off of that high ground. Nero just pressuring them out of that position. Now onto the corner, they're going to have to play this, but there is that opportunity to go through the doorway, get into the choke themselves, but find that backline pressure. Asking, just going with Nero and forcing the pressure onto that.
Ooh, Dalton went down. Dalton getting heals in time. They have to burn the res on him right away. That was avoidable. His pressure is gone. Gator ends up falling because Mercy was mid-res, and this might be unavoidable here for LNL. That momentary mistake, that pickoff, just snowballing away, results in Gator's demise. And it's going to be a very quick take here from Toronto.
Playing out the momentum of their last matchup, too. Dogman trying to shut down DCOD. He's going to lose his life for that, though, as he tried to turn around and get value out of that sleep dart. But Asking going forward does have his he's actually just going to pull it out already. That's going to be the Dragon Strike going through, just forcing them back, creating more space for the rest of his team. But that's pretty much all it's going to do. However, they still are finding kills with DCOD kind of out on an island himself, taking down Sugar Free.
DCOD finding a lot of room. DCOD is pronounced D as in D, cod as in the fish. We don't know if the cod part...
I'll just start saying decode.
But decode. This is the path. This is the good old insanity of online tournaments as you get to the fifth match of the day. But Toronto still with the momentum, moving forward. Disruption on the Primal Rage, not giving LNL time to breathe. but Cracklock can get demeched, has to use a self-destruct, could get taken down. No, it's a big self-destruct, takes down 2, and enough room being made here from Toronto. Not letting up on the pressure here versus LNL.
Ooh, Hawk just trying to go for that reset. They're going to try to take down Kraken Lacken, actually, and they will take at least the mech, but Decod, or rather Decode now, is going to be going forward and allowing the rest of his team to come out, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be Kraken Lacken this time around.
Asking, find Sugar Free. Every pickoff right now, very much more towards the favor of Toronto. Ajax goes down. It has been one stagger after another. We have not really seen a full reset from either team here. Dino goes down to a Wild Hawk. Who would have thought a little bit later in the evolutionary chain, I suppose. But Gator, back the other way, finds Narrow, and the defense of LNL, now Sugar Free as a blade, has an option to bring this back. Sugar Free, you gotta bring it out, you gotta cut a few people along the way. Is not the plan you have right now. Look at Decon on the right-hand side. Decon under pressure, gonna fall. Asking, though, get Sugar Free, and no blade here just yet.
Asking, wrapping around the side as well, looking for that opening. Will find a Lucio, but the pressure is on, and twofold as well, as the Tracer finds a way into Asking's face, and they might get a pick. Oh, he's just not going to get the kill off the sleep dart.
The fight that never ends, my friends. We continue on. Do have the Hammond knockup come into play. Sugar Free, though. Nano boost. No blade, though, to be had. Just laying in damage from the side. Says, I don't need to use it here. I'm going to save it. Doesn't matter that you put the juice on me.
Decod on that Hammond, trying to play into this high ground control that they have right now, battling across rooftops. Sugar Free with the Genji blade. Dogman not having the nano boost, but Sugar Free could opt to just use this without and try to force something to come out supportive, defensively rather, from Toronto Esports in order to find some pressure later on and get the kills after those support ultimates die off.
Right now, we're going to see Sugar Free still holding on template. We have the Diva dance going on. I do not know what's going on. The fights are going all over the place. Cracklocken ends up getting picked off. LNL, again, they've truly come back in the form here. They've been holding strong. And you see Toronto getting delayed again, where Toronto just hasn't felt comfortable engaging. Perhaps just waiting for Asking to get a pick. That has not happened.
Dogman untouched in the backline as well, and they're just playing for time here, and that's a good way to play in this situation. There's the nano boost.
Goes on in. Sugar Free takes down Asking. He's not done yet. Makes Dino extinct. 2 early pickoffs here from LNL.
Playing that one a lot more aggressively than what we've seen from them so far in this phase of the map. Sugar Free, Dogman connecting nicely, and I'm definitely thinking, you know, what kind of plays can you start making to shut this down, because they're able to make these fights take so long to actually die off. If Toronto Esports is losing, they're going to do it slowly. Asking now, going over to the hit scan, it's going to be the McCree.
Decod going in, trying to make this a little bit fishy. Hawk, though, got Dino immediately. Again, the bird versus dinosaur setup just removes the healing from Toronto. Decod just has to roll his way on out of there, and he's done with the damage. He's done. He's swapping. It's going to be going Ryan? No, going Winston. Still going to be going for the dive, but man, they only have a minute left.
And think about how long it took to get the setup there, because Asking has to take an elevator ride all the way up to the high ground. He has to get in position, wait for the elevator to come down. Then he has to go up, then he has to get it set up, and he has to have his tanks there to support him, or he has to fall down and do it all over again. And when he dies off, it's a lot of time off the clock. So this setup is really, really hurting them with this pickup, and it's just giving more time for Sugar Free to have yet another blade.
Oh, Sugar Free's having the time of his life right now. Gonna move in. It's a nice bio nade from Dogman. Almost results in a few kills, but you see the turnaround back the other way. But to your point, Nano Boost, Dragon Blade. Here comes Sugar Free. Almost gets chunked, but saved by the barrier. Able to convert that into 3 eliminations. That almost went against them. Asking landed some serious damage with the Discord Orb, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, a lot of times you see teams not wanting to utilize both those support ults very quickly, but you can see the quick adaptations that Ajax made to his own thinking of, you know what, I gotta throw this out. I gotta keep this dream alive and keep this fight going with this Nano Blade.
Final fight here. A lot of time has been burned by LNL in a big comeback. They lose Hawk early on, though. 6 on 5. Sugar Free easily dispatches Swimmer. 1 support down. Nice deflect. Waiting for some heals. Has to back on out. Dash used. Discord Orb on him all the while. Asking. Starting to open this up. 3 pickups make it 4. The Cowboy in the Wild West part of Hollywood with 5 before it's all said and done. Asking, giving exactly what Toronto needed.
Now you have to wonder if there's even the ability to recontest in OT here. Gator going to go forward and try to make it happen, but they're just going to be batted around, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Finally, it is contested as they come out of the doorway.
A lot of pressure coming in for Toronto. The resurgence of momentum coming in. Ajax can't delay. Asking, no one's looking at him. This is way too much value for a McCree. You can't let a Cowboy do what's being done right now.
Deadeye available as well, so options going forward. You've got support ults, Swimmer, and Dino, saying it right this time. And with the backup that you have with that, you can go for a really cheeky Deadeye right here. Yeah, I mean, you know that for a fact. You'll have that support from your teammates. You can see Swimmer putting him into position already. Look at this high ground control that they're going to actually trade off for as well.
It's high noon behind you. Dogman goes down. He whiffed the sleep dart. You can't do that. He's not moving very fast. He has been Pogman for a while, but that is whatever the opposite Pogman is, because Asking is tearing this apart. And it could have been stopped. The sleep dart just needed the hit.
He was Pogman, Hogman. Now he's, what would it be? Sobman? Sogman. Sobman.
I'll take Sobman. You
Okay.
kind of have to cry a little bit there, because that is something that Ana can deny. I mean, you have to be quick, you have to be accurate, but there was the chance, and Asking took a gamble, paid off. So, into the next fight. Barrier out here for Toronto. Asking again, still well protected. Dalton out of the fight early. Toronto just easily rolling forward, and Asking still getting to do whatever he pleases. This is ridiculous. The front line from Toronto, dominant. Dogman going, I guess I have to touch the point. Oh, yeah, yep, that's going to happen. The world's saddest Ana there at the end, because he had to do it. He didn't want to do it. He had to stall. Dalton tries to buy a bit of time. It's not enough. Toronto with a massive resurgence to get themselves back into Hollywood, and now likely finish out the map.
They should be able to close this one out here. Just about finishing the job. Dogman trying to keep everything going with the Moira pick, and they will close it out. And Decod's there every single time to just bat Gator away. I mean, Dogman was Sobman at the end, but Gator was just completely denied any entry onto the point. Every time he tried to get in there, he was just knocked back. Decod just seemed like he had infrasight on that guy alone, and was making sure that every time he came out of spawn, he was just thrown right back into it. Yep. So no momentum on the Hammond to come back into the point.
And also, I mean, there's a lot to be said for the front line making space, but I'm going to go back to, age-old wisdom here, adapted a little bit. If anyone remembers The Dark Knight Returns, the Joker, of course, had a famous quote. No, it's simple. Kill the Batman. Well, it's simple. Kill the McCree, especially as he's just dumpstering everyone in sight. You got to do something to get on him. And unfortunately for LNL, they just were not able to find any way of even making him feel uncomfortable. He was about as comfortable there as someone on a couch in the middle of their favorite season of their favorite TV show ever.
Me. Yeah, me. That's me right now. That's me. Right. I'm comfortable. But anyways, looking at that composition too, though, Asking wasn't even really they weren't fully committed to the protect Asking drive. What they were doing instead was half committing. They had that break. They were still kind of playing around Asking in that way, but they were a lot more aggressive, allowing Decod to create more space and going into that a little bit more heavily by the use of the Hammond instead of the Winston, which would be a little bit more reactive, be a little bit better at peeling by providing the barrier. So it's a different look, but it's something that worked out quite well for them because, again, nobody was looking at Asking on the McCree.
Well, something tells me Asking's going to get a little bit more focus on this time, but that's why he's behind an Orisa shield. Sugar Free going to be looking to break that wide open. You're running the Hanzo. You can do some damage to these shields.
Trying to open things up. Got to bring that barrier down first to open it up, and looking for that opportunity is going to be Sugar Free in the sky as he almost gets ripped out by Dino.
Almost goes down a deep, dark, sad path, but so far the defense doing well. The shields are going down quickly. They're getting replaced just as fast, and Asking already 40% away from attack visor. That is testament to how much damage he's doing now. And oh no, look at their health. They are getting chunked from all ends.
Asking a big reason as to why Toronto Esports is just looking so deadly right now. You can see that attack visor coming online pretty soon. That's going to help them tear out Sugar Free from this dominant position of being an aerial threat.
Well, you see attack visor coming in from Asking. Nano boost in onto the D.Va. They're trying to do anything to deal with them. You have D.Va in his face. And Asking goes, don't really care too much. But it does prevent his attack visor from doing too much. And now Asking goes, all right, I flanked before. I'll flank again. Goes for Dogman.
Oh, Dogman.
Oh, nice shoot. Sleeps him. Absolutely pog coming in from Dogman. Oh, man. The way to deal with soldier pressure there. Going to get res back up. Res that fallen soldier. Take the point, LNL.
Dogman with the huge shutdown. Back to being Pogman. Back to being Pogman right away.
You want to talk about a breaking ankles moment right now? That man doesn't even have feet after that. Yikes.
Lost his shoes. Oh, man. Super unfortunate.
Lost his lunch money. That was
pushed into the locker.
Asking,
everything. That was bullying is what it was.
Asking could not deal with the scary stutter steps.
All right, though, as we look forward, there's going to be the startup. Gator aggressive. Hammond into the side as well, right onto the payload. It's a 2-for-2. Actually, sorry, a 1-for-1, losing mech as well.
Yeah, Dogman still continuing, deals with his counterpart. Hawk explodes over the top, and it is just constant staggering right now.
Winston?
At the expense of Toronto.
Winston for Gator, yeah. So they are going to go for that dive. Certainly look for them to try to control high ground as DCOD wants to come up, and he'll be having to go right back down, especially if they're able to get some control through Dalton and shut down his ability to use his own skills so he can't just rotate out of that fight. That would definitely give them an opening.
Both Genji's right now looking to build up Blade. Gator, though, Nano Boost, time to move on in, swim to some territories perhaps, but really just puts a lot of it into the ham here. Chases DCOD, who's going to swing away and go, I'm not about that lifestyle. Going to get away from Gator. So Nano Boost doesn't do too much. Sugar Free going to get punished, and really just nice control coming in here from Toronto. Not really to be too phased. Cracklock might be losing his mech, but you look at Asking, he's the guy you have to deal with. Just drills Ajax from afar.
Oh, Hawk really struggling to stay alive versus the onslaught of pressure that is Asking on the Soldier 76. This time it's Dogman going down, but not without some help for Asking.
Asking, uses the attack visor, says, you know what, I'm just going to destroy this Genji. Oh, Sugar Free actually gets away. Speaking of Jukes right now, falls in jail.
He's not letting it happen again. Not this time at all. And Asking closes it out. Definitely a question of whether or not that attack visor was necessary or worth it, but nonetheless it gets pulled out. They still have other options at their disposal. Contesting Blades, Sugar Free versus Nero, another one of those mirror matchups that I've been so excited for all throughout the day.
No doubt about it. Well, you know what, mirror mirror, blade, here we go. Nero, oh, he's looking for it, decides he didn't like what he saw, held off the blade, gets Dogman for free. So you like to see, not just for late night infomercials, but finds him with the shurikens, gets to hold on to the blade, and neither Genji really felt like cutting much there. Sugar Free's taking down Toronto 2.5 minutes away from a hold on second.
This is kind of similar to what we saw on the opposite side, as Toronto Esports was taking a lot of time to get their setups in this second phase, and they lost a lot of time in their bank because of that. Things slowing down. You can see the same thing. There's a lot of downtime, right, between fights, and last night's leftovers taking a little bit to set up themselves, as well as they're going to take some pressure from Asking, who is still utilizing this Soldier 76 and getting a lot of value from it.
Asking has been the man to beat here, and yeah, there might be a big shiny blade coming out from Nero, but you don't deal with the soldier in the back. If Sugar Free isn't able to neutralize, it's gonna be a short fight. Self-destruct. Cracklocken doesn't really get anything. Bit misguided there, and now LNL trying to seize advantage. Oh, Gator just fed. That was actual feeding. Went for the Primal Rage and got completely denied early on. However, still might have been an okay distraction. Sugar Free, though, chunked and removed. Went in for the Nano Boost and just Nano Blade didn't do much of anything. And Toronto is looking remarkably solid. Nero even still has the Blade.
Yeah, he's been so patient with this. Hasn't really had to use it. And look at this time bank as it's dwindled down to about a minute. He's going to go for it now, looking for Dogman. Hacked already.
Got hacked, but had a nice deflect right before. Bought him enough time. Doesn't let Dogman neutralize him. And Toronto, even if it's just one off the blade, might be enough. You've dealt with the Ana that's been making so many plays. Down your Lucio, though. Got to get back onto the point. Nero gonna fall. Suddenly, here comes Sugar Free back the other way. On Tracer. Time to make some plays. And LNL, not dead yet.
Toronto Esports with an opportunity to come around the side, and Asking going to show that play for them. Already the hack coming out from Dalton. Oh, almost gets taken down, but does manage to get away.
Sugar Free going in. Cracklocken gonna fall. LNL finding new life, just like Toronto did a round ago. Both teams finding that late resurgence as LNL is going to get point B. What do they have for the final point?
Well, pushing forward. I mean, they have a pulse bomb, but I'm really looking for some combos to come through. Otherwise, this is going to look real scrappy. And when things come down to the wire like that, I don't know if they want to go for that. We already talked about how LNL does look pretty solid when things do get scrappy, and we might see Sugar Free actually making an adjustment. He is indeed, and that's going to be to the Brig.
That is the sad state of Pulse Bomb in 2018. So I got Pulse Bomb, but why use Pulse Bomb as ultimate when I can use Brigitte all the time?
Exactly. That's the trade-off that he's going to take every day.
Yep, Sunbear coming in, just starts pummeling Decod. Mace, not just to the face, but really to all parts of the body, working out the kinks. Asking, though, still a threat on the other side. On the high ground, Dogman going, please, I'm tired of this movie, but he's going to get some support. Asking, getting thrown all the way back. LNL able to deal with the soldier pressure. And now, under a minute to go, and not much further to go in the payload.
Gator making that adjustment over to the Reinhardt, so now we will have them opposing each other. 49 seconds remaining. It's down to the wire here. Asking already with attack visor. Self-destruct on the side as well.
Attack visor getting neutralized a lot of the EMP here. Attack visor came out early. LNL didn't want to go into the visor, so ends up being a bit of a wash. Hack, though, onto Decod. No more shield. Are they going to move forward? Sugar Free certainly thinks so. Finds his counterpart in Brigitte. Man up is LNL. Huge advantage in regen. It's going to force out the barrier. Dalton says, the hack a little bit more. And, what a shatter coming out. But follow through is going to be there. They got both Dogman and Gator. So you see Toronto finding time. We're down to the final 15 seconds. Time is running out for LNL. Hawk able to deal with Crackalacket, looking for a little bit more. Down to the wire here, both sides. Dino, though, supporting from the back end. EMP out from Dalton once more. It's coming down to it. EMP doesn't do as much as they want. Rally now out here from Narrow, and it's looking like Toronto's getting more to their favor, but there's the beat.
How are they able to get so far ahead and still stay in this? They're going to be continuing to push this objective forward as now the biotic comes in from Dino. It might be enough to secure this one.
Asking, grabs two, no one's on him once more. I keep you on the payload at all times. You don't want to let her number here in the moment, but now Asking, looking for the Sombra, going for Dalton. Dalton able to get away. Hawk down, Toronto. The flow of battle back in their favor. Asking does it again, and Toronto one map away from going to the grand finals.
Up 2-1. Last night's leftover looked like a really solid team that was going to be really tough to stop, but it seems as though Toronto now has their number, showing up in a big way, and in front of it all is going to obviously be Asking. I mean, if you want to clip at all anything that happened today, this is going to be one of those plays. Insanity being displayed by Asking.
So I'm not sure what it was. I'm gonna have to look into it for proper credit, but we did definitely just get a huge host on the channel because we were up to 7.5K viewers. We were not at that earlier, so I don't know where it came from. I want to give proper credit to whoever that was, though.
Yeah, hopefully we can find that out and give them the credit that they deserve, because that's really cool.
Or we just got Twitch front page.
Well,
apparently.
Twitch is a sponsor, so hats off to Twitch.
Yes, thank you, the Twitch. We don't have to give credit to an individual streamer, apparently. We just have to give credit to the large corporation that makes this happen. But also, thank you, Twitch, for making this happen, as this has been quite a series so far. Toronto up 2-1.
All right, well, it is last night's leftovers opportunity to pick the map here. And it could be all over after this if Toronto Esports is able to take it on their map pick. They've really struggled the last two maps where Toronto Esports has really, again, behind Asking and honestly, Dino in a lot of cases as well, who has shown up in such a big way. I know a lot of people saw the announcement for Toronto Esports and they were wondering, how is Asking going to fit into this roster? On top of that, why Dino over all other options? Well, I think we have our answers because honestly, Asking is nuts, not only with the snipers, but now he's shown off the McCree as well. I mean, honestly, the flashiest stuff that we've seen all day. And Dino is honestly the most consistent Ana that we've seen all weekend long. Not just today, but all weekend long. I think the most consistent Ana that we've seen.
Look, you know that things are going well for you where not only are you having great play after great play in the support role, but you've already turned yourself into a Twitch chat meme. I mean, Dino's really operating on all cylinders now. Not extinct in the least, but it's been cool to watch. But you can't count out LNL yet. They're going to be bringing us to Dorado. It's their map choice, so this has been back and forth. And like we said at the outset, this is definitely a series that could go to 5. But while we're waiting for the next map and while we have way more viewers coming in, I think it's time to sell out. We haven't given our sponsors love in a while, and now we have a bigger audience. Well, I think it's just time. So thank you. Big shout out to Cooler Master, of course, for helping make this happen. Great peripherals for your PC. Keep it nice and cool, whether it be heat sinks, whether it be your PC case. Twitch, of course, they put us on the front page. So yes, thank you, Twitch. You are fantastic. You're also supporting the tournament, so big help there. Sennheiser, treat your ears. Great audio products across the board. Do you want good storage? Do you want fast SSD? Look towards Plex Store. And of course, ViewSonic, great products for the other side of the spectrum. You have Sennheiser for your hearing, you got ViewSonic for the monitor side of things. And last, but certainly not least, eating is simply pain. Making food is trouble. Have Soylent. Solve all those issues in one fell swoop. It's great, it's nutritious. You'll find so much more time with your life. But now, the zone is over. We're in Dorado. Let's go.
Is it over though? Because with asking heating up, I think he definitely needs something from Cooler Master for sure. Maybe some kind of heat sink action to kind of dissipate some of the fire that he's been building behind his McCree play.
I don't think Asking is down for that at all. I think Asking would prefer to go right to the sun as far as that goes.
Right to the sun. All right. Well,
I mean, maybe from the other side they would want that, but not Asking. Asking, I think, is totally fine where he is.
Oh yeah, he's as close to the sun as he can possibly get. Yeah, just keep on heating up. Why not? Why not let the sun implode and then take that heat and then just continue getting hotter? Why not? Whatever.
You know what? Let's just go forward to the heat death of the universe. I'm not sure how we got here for this conversation, but you know what? We're gonna free some time. Oh, okay. Asking getting on Dogman.
Not skipping a beat at all.
To be sneaky and just got executed is what we saw there. That wasn't long-range Widow. That was short-range as Asking continues to go forward. Toronto just crushing it.
It's such a good way for them to go ahead and start this first push. Yes, there is going to be the opportunity now for last night's leftovers to recontest. However, they aren't going to be at that supreme advantage of holding that choke. You know, it's going to take them time to get into position. It's going to take time for everybody to set up where they need to be. And then in the meantime, setup is going to be happening for Toronto Esports, where they have everybody in position ready to defend themselves on their attack.
It's definitely been impressive stuff here from Toronto. Oh, the Diva Matrix just ruined Asking's day. And yet, no one's looking. Is he invisible? Like, no one actually looks at the Widow that's flanking them right now. Doesn't connect for the headshot on Ajax. Gets a little stutter step. Not going to complete. And now Asking uses it for sight and needs to get out. But, okay, still alive. Supported all the while. He's still in it. Looking for shots. Decod's down. More pressure on the Widow here. And, okay, that's a blade. Sugar Free's mad. Moving on forward. And Asking is in full retreat as LNL gets control.
Oh! That was actually so clean and so fluid from Sugar Free at the end there when he slid in and hit that quick triple shuriken, securing that kill. That was actually so good from Sugar Free. I'm feeling it still, actually.
Sugar Free, kind of a good Genji. Asking a kind of Widow on the other side. Deals with them. Full battle Widow. Why scope in? Just continue to shoot the Diva in machine gun mode. Narrow takes down Gator. Hawk getting taken down, and Asking goes back to his rightful perch. Time to lay in the Widow pressure. Almost gets Sugar Free. Whew.
This is one of the scarier parts of the map for this too. Asking is going to have a lot of long shot opportunity to take advantage of, where nobody is really going to be able to do too much outside of utilizing a lot of their mobility to get into position. And then all of a sudden you have that reactive counter that's going to come out from guys like Decod and Nero as well to just protect Asking their sniper.
Okay, they've put double duty on Asking here. Getting chased by Sombra and Genji. Yep, that's gonna be enough. It would have been interesting for Asking to do the great Houdini act and actually get away from that, but nope, sometimes you're just gonna fall in Overwatch. That was one of those times.
Oh, there's the end for sight coming out from Asking, and also coming out from Respawn as well, as he's gonna look to try to get high ground and maybe see if he can get some picks already, as Sugar Free gonna be opening up with the Nano Blade for the second time.
Early setup here. Sugar Free picks 2 in the back. It's a nice set from Sugar Free. Blade applied directly to the supports. Supported no more. Narrow going, yep, it is going to be done. So LNL able to fully reestablish there. 3.5 minutes left here on Dorado.
utilizing this Widow, they really need to get out of this corner here where things are a lot more close quarters. They're going to see the EMP ready for Dalton as well. So the value here of the Sombra over the Widow is really huge. Definitely a big difference at the moment.
Dalton takes a little bit by and says, get out of here. Meanwhile, Dogman finds Decod. Decod's dive not quite working out the way he wants, and LNL still in good control. Gator has to activate Primal Rage, though, and speaking of blades, we got Narrow. Oh, slapped. Dogman says, go to sleep.
And hacked as well. So yeah, why not completely eliminate his ability to do anything or even play the game in any degree?
Narrow's furiously typing up a post complaining about crowd control right now.
I can see it on Reddit already. I can see it.
He's a fast typer, but LNL's dealing with this pressure really well right now. Gonna get the self-destruct. Grab Dino. Now looking for the Winston. Winston gonna have to get out in a hurry. Hot. Grabs Dino, and another minute taking off the clock as LNL is looking so good on their map choice right now.
Still watching for Dalton to utilize this EMP. Oh, he gets caught out, so he's forced to actually recall back and needs a little bit of healing from Dogman, aka Pogman at the moment.
Dogman, you know, you're going to sleep a Genji in that situation and treat him to the CC nightmare. You might as well enjoy it. Dalton, though, holding on to the EMP. Certainly going to be big in the next fight. Waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the develop. Goes for the raw hack on the Decod, has to translocate out. Self-destruct meanwhile, back the other way for Crackwacken, gets absolutely nada. We are going to see Asking, though, come in with the tack visor. Sugar Free is already down. Bionade, big coming in. Dogman falling and Asking now on full cleanup duty. Nice Bionade from Dino to set that up.
Yeah, a big one from Dino. Dogman got one of his own, but it's hard to find value after a Bionade when your whole team's dead to do anything about it. So he's going to drop along with the rest of his team, and Asking still with the Soldier 76. Again, this is something that you just don't see picked that often anymore, and Asking is just looking tremendous with it.
Barrier up for LNL, Sugar Free. Kind of wanted to use the blade, but also kind of needed to climb into the window. Now Nano Boost is up, and Sugar Free still kind of looking around going, what do I do? I guess slowly attack D.Va is what he does here. Wasn't really the most ideal scenario for LNL. Coordination a bit discombobulated, but late Sugar Free play beaten up by Asking and Ajax. Nothing went well there for LNL. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, not exactly the rhythm that they were looking for when utilizing that combo. Meanwhile, Nero and Dino connect in the same way that they would have liked to have seen from their own combination. But now again, Asking being on the Soldier 76, I would expect at this stage maybe you would actually go to like something like a McCree or something, maybe switch that McCree Brig, but that is just not the case at the moment. They're still sticking with this Soldier 76.
Dalton landing high value hacks, using it to just deal with Decod there, gonna have an EMP up from the next fight. Minute 55 left in LNL. Okay, they're going real aggressive here. Sugar Free doesn't know the meaning of retreat when on Brigida apparently, but I do think finally they're gonna back up as Dalton takes a higher perch.
All right, are they sticking with this or not? It is going to be the case as Nero makes the swap. They don't swap to the McCree. They are instead sticking with Tack Visor that Asking is sporting right now on the Soldier 76. Also offering up high ground for them as Dogman does land the sleep this time around.
Early sleep. Dalton now going forward, avoiding the stealth check there by Winston. Oh, gets looped, but still in the good spot. Sugar Free gets stunned, EMP out. Let's make this room a party room. Gonna start moving on in is LNL off the EMP, but Sugar Free went down early. It's not quite as strong of a dive as they normally like, but the Bionade coming in from Dogman makes things a little bit rougher. Cracklock is gonna be able to get back to the mech. Yes, but also no. Very likely about to get demeched here, surrounded on all three sides. LNL, one fight away from a hold here on Dorado last.
Not just that, but a really solid fight. That last one, Dogman, really pivotal in it. I mean, a pillar for their defense on this Ana. Obviously going to be the case in that role, but he's just doing so much with the toolkit that Ana provides and just getting more value out of it right now by landing yet another biotic.
It's been the era of Bionades, and that's the era of dropping the beat. Toronto gonna open up a sound barrier, but one good beat deserves another. LNL looking pretty good here. Asking though, decides, you know what, time for the tack visor. I think it's the time. Moving the other way, looking for anything. Dealing with a lot of shields, but get Sugar Free in the very end. Narrow with the support, Asking, finding Dogman in Toronto. This might be the push they needed.
Need to make sure Kraken stays alive here as he's going to be able to get those heals that he really needs, on top of getting his supports just a little bit of ult charge that's going to be ever important. And now as we look towards this last fight, I mean, this is overtime here. So this is all it. Either they cap it now or they don't. And it's going to come down to, I think, Asking's positioning here.
Well, look to this, guys, because you're about to see exploding Hawks. See the self-destruct aside. What an shot by Decod goes the other way, but Dino gets caught in the explosion. And now LNL, they've done enough off the self-destruct from Hawk. Was able to really neutralize the Earth Shatter coming on in. Space being controlled on the point. The offense falling bit by bit. And this is looking like all the makings of a hold on last. And yet, it's Toronto. Not every team gets to last. Toronto can still feel pretty good about that attack. And they have plenty of options here to potentially put the series away.
And on the other side of things, LNL, they need to feel confident on their own defense, or rather their own attack now, where, you know, they're staring down the barrel of potentially going down to the losers bracket, having to go through all of that process of extra games being played. And, you know, in this situation, what they would really like to have happen is get a good attack, feel very efficient with everything that you do, whether it be, you know, EMP Dragon Blades. They want to make sure that everything is connecting on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders, rather. And a big thing is that the individual parts are certainly working. Yes, there's a lot of resources being pinned onto Gator and Hawk, and it's disallowing Gator to have that kind of impact that we've seen from him in the past on the main tank role. But every other bit is working, certainly. I mean, because of the fact that a lot of things are being thrown at Gator, we're seeing Dalton and Sugarfree with opportunities to shine. Dogman has a little bit more room to work with, and he's getting some work done with that as well, especially when we have him called out as Pogman. He's making some big plays, but I think in terms of consistency and synergy, that's where we really need to see this a big step forward to be able to contest Toronto Esports here, to be able to win this map, and then go forward into a map 5 and maybe, just maybe, beat them out there.
Well, the one thing that's also going to be pretty horrifying for the offense of LNL is that you're going to have Asking back here in the Widowmaker, and Dalton, you think back earlier to the series, wasn't really able to run a good Widow v Widow, and this is actually one of the hardest maps to pressure Asking in the backline. So it's going to put a lot of pressure pretty much solely on Sugarfree. Oh, okay, Asking, this is so aggro.
He's
got him!
Pays off,
got him!
boys.
What a shot! Oh, man. That was risky. That was just asking to get bopped, but he was the bopper rather than the boppy.
asking to get bopped, but turns out to be the bopper. Nice. So we can save that quote and move on. And Sugarfree right now into the back line, certainly going to be putting a lot more attention towards Asking going forward.
Well, Dino's down immediately. Dalton and Sugarfree. Nice dive to hit Gator just over the top when your Winston really wants to use Widow, but Gator might be realizing the error of his own ways. Super low. Needs to back away. Mercy's there, though, and Asking too deep. And this might be all LNL needs to get first point.
Great rotation there from Dalton also to come back and support his teammate. Gator helped out, saved. Now we're going to see the Pog. Asking back onto the McCree. Showed out. The last time we saw this on Hollywood, they're going to go right in. They're going to contest this.
They're going to go for it, but man, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of sometimes, where you go in for that last second hold, you end up feeding ult back the other way. They're going to take the risk, but I don't know if it's a great risk to take. Now, Nero does find Dalton to the back, so that's immediately res. Here comes Sugarfree, Blade out, and that's going to deal with the reinforcements here. Overall, was it worth? I mean, you got the Blade out of Sugarfree, but you look... you got the nano as well. I think it actually might have been okay for the defense. I think they got enough out of LNL.
And there's Nero swapping back to the Sombra, going head-to-head with his teammate, current teammate, Dalton, a pair that has stayed together for multiple seasons of contenders, now combating one another on the Sombra.
Nero and Dalton, they were the dream duo of Contender Season 1 when Toronto was at their strongest, but as you were saying, they are on opposite sides right now. Dalton's still in Toronto Esports, but has been put into the backup role, subbing in for LNL. EMP, though, up. LNL moving forward. Hack does not complete on the Crackwagon. He's able to get back on, up and over. And it's a slow burn from LNL right now as they wait for Dalton to find a good setup.
And speaking of setup, Asking up on this high ground, looking to control this. Look how consistent he is with his aim. This is ridiculous.
Meanwhile, Sugarfree just down. Dalton dropping the EMP on the other side. Both trading out. Oh, Dalton can't finish the other Sombra. Couldn't finish off Nero. Could come back to haunt him as
uh-oh.
see Decod is going to be able to get got hacked. 140 HP. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Starting to get healed back the other way. Asking, though, falling to the self-destruct as both teams now starting to fall apart a little bit. It's a longer brawl on the point, but at times this can favor the defense here.
Still a lot of time being taken away while, yes, they found Asking, but a lot of these fights are being drawn out, and this is something that we haven't really seen all day. Is just the pacing slowed down, the tempo slowed down to this kind of crawl that we're seeing here. Payload pushing forward as last night's leftovers trying to take this advantage and push something forward as Sugar Free holding onto this blade. It's Dogman ready to connect. They're going for it already.
They're moving in narrow. Good drop.
Half the sleep.
Offense in from Toronto, and oh, Sugar Free. Not that we see all that often. Oh, that was almost a crouch from Dino at the very end. Sugar Free just annihilated early on here. And remember, if Toronto's able to hold off LNL, the series would be theirs. The grand finals is where they'd be heading. But now, EMP out from the LNL side. Dalton decides to invest at Cracklacken. Gonna get demeched. You see LNL investing a lot here, and here comes Sugar Free off the respawn, coming into Brawl as a Tracer diving on in, and was a back and forth battle, but this is where Tracer can do a lot of damage, moving and just laying damage in the decon, but so far, not super effective.
Yeah, that walk is so long now that it's going to be tough for them to take it, but nonetheless, Dogman comes up over the side and is providing a lot of pressure and a lot of healing support to his teammates, allowing them to sustain, have that staying power that they needed in order to secure this, and it looks like that might just be it.
LNL able to get through. The dream still alive. Can they force a map 5? Remember, they are fighting for their life in the upper bracket right now. Sugar Free now starting to get rolling here on the Tracer. Pulse bomb ready, throws it over. Doesn't quite connect, but man, he's chasing on the Winston decon. Wants no part of this Tracer. Tracer, Winston, friends no more. As LNL just continues to clean up kills.
And they're doing it so aggressively by taking hold of positions and just not letting them go at all. You can see them controlling the high ground. Hawk just kind of sitting up there at the moment, as they're going to try to do their best to make sure that they don't have to fall down from that and allow Hawk to be in a position where he can answer Asking at any given point. He has the Deadeye ready, as well as the EMP from Nero, so we'll have to see what kind of setup we can get. Maybe a self-destruct to follow up with.
Asking finds Ajax. Toronto not done yet. Leading Vanguard. Nano boosted Winston. Asking finds Dogman in the corner. The fight continues. And nice little dink at the very end. And now
Headshot
Toronto.
after headshot after headshot, man.
They still got hold for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, though. And Asking, is he thinking
Don't
about
swap. No, don't swap. Please stay on it. Let us have what we want. Let us have what we want, and we get it. That's the McCree coming out from Asking. A little show out to, I think, Pine there, actually, the NYXL spray. You see that?
You know, why not? Give a little bit of respect there. Deadeye out here from Asking, and it's just a zoning Deadeye, which is a thing. It buys a little bit of time, gives Toronto time to figure out how they want to do this. Bionade, though, in from Dogman, makes Asking retreat in a hurry. Gonna force out the barrier from Toronto because simply they need to stay alive during this exchange. They go back the other way. Sugar Free getting low. Sugar Free gonna get picked. He does. Narrow taking the Brigida, Brigida. Toronto now backing up a bit. All they need to do is wound the offense here. And oh, they lose 2. Their front line decimated by Gator, chomped right in the swamp. And Asking doesn't have a lot of room here. Has 2 shields in his face.
Yeah, nobody to press onto the point. They need their tanks up now more than ever. Decod's gonna come back onto the Hammond.
Deadeye, risky play. Look at the time, and it does! Through the defensive matrix, gets Gator. Good game sense by Asking. Looking for Ajax. Ajax is barely able to get away. Dogman in the crosshairs, gets healed. With Hammond diving on in. And LNL is forced back, now down to the final minute 20.
Able to push them off one more time, but it's going to take probably 1 or 2 more of those in order to secure this. This is down to the wire. Toronto Esports could take it all here, but last night's leftovers, they're not letting this go without a heck of a fight. And it's going to be entering in with a nice biotic from Dogman.
Earth Shatter also for LNL. Gator leading the way. 2 uncontested pickoffs. Up and Asking finds Dogman, but it might be the only good thing happening for Toronto here. They are on the back foot and then some. The payload 2 meters away. It's just Asking and Dino right now. Someone has to touch a payload. They can't do it. We're going to map 5.
We're going the distance, just like last night's leftovers was able to just now here on Dorado. They close it out, and a game 5. This is going all the way, isn't it? I mean, we've seen a lot of different pacing changes, some tempo adjustments, a lot of compositions from both of these sides. But it comes all the way down to this. What is going to be that final map? I mean, I know we have Anubis in there. I know everybody loves Anubis, so I think we could very well see something like that, you know? Sombras
It
abound
is
as well.
it is interesting to see the map preference here because
Asking
unless
on
I'm
Widow,
forgetting,
right
which
there.
is what, yeah, no, it would be totally fine for Toronto, but so far, and I might be wrong on this, may short-term memory, well, I guess it'd be longer-term memory at this point is what it is, but I don't think we've seen an assault map all tournament long. Teams have
Yeah, there hasn't been one.
simply been avoiding it. We've seen no Anubis. It hasn't been in play. It just has not been the favorite of teams, which again is also kind of a throwback, right? Where you think back to the old school tournament, you actually didn't see much in the way of assault maps until you moved to a format that basically would force all the players to play on assault. So it is, in many ways, online tournaments do bring it back a bit, I would say.
I mean, we still have a couple of options for sure for them. It seems as though they're actually going to go to Lijiang Tower, which is not what I would have expected. However, we already did start things off on Ilios, so we see, of course, Toronto trying to play into that a little bit more. But if I'm not mistaken, I have a poor memory right now because I've been awake for how long has it been? 12, 6, 6. I've been casting off and on roughly all day for about 16 and a half hours. So my memory is shot. My brain is shot. I believe last night leftovers took that first round on Ilios, if I'm not mistaken, right? I mean, off the back of on well, they were playing. Yeah, I can confirm that for sure.
Yeah.
Gator was playing the Orisa, and we saw them rotating very efficiently. So Toronto to take it now back into that same scrappy area of fighting where last night's leftovers looked actually pretty solid. I think they're really going to have to play off of asking, maybe going over to something like a McCree again in order for them to have a solid pick here and look very confident in going into this.
Also, just to note that because this is not a salt map, I will just say that I like to imagine if Temple of Anubis was a sentient being, it is crying in the corner saying forever alone because no one actually wants to play with it right now, has been the sort of moral of the story here, I suppose.
I definitely think, personally speaking, at least, Control is probably my most favorite because it is scrappy. It is, you do get a lot of that combat. That's what a lot of people love playing Overwatch for. And once you get to this level of play, you also have the strategy that comes into it, and it's very fast paced. You have to think on your feet. There's a lot of reactionary stuff that needs to happen. We've seen good things from last night's leftovers in that department, where specifically guys like Ajax are coming through and making big plays, not just with beat drops, but with boops and a lot of different other things that are coming through, including playing on Mercy and being in the right place at the right time, which is very important for that character. So I definitely wouldn't count last night's leftovers out by the fact that Toronto has map pick advantage here in this final set or this final map. I think that this is going to be an all-out brawl. We're already into map 5. I would not be surprised to see this go all the way the distance. See us on
The true all the
every
way,
single
the, the,
map.
the 3 round control
Yeah, the
is what you're saying.
three-round control, everything going as far as it possibly can. Wouldn't even be surprised to see 199s on at least 2 of these maps between these two teams. I would not be surprised in the slightest.
Well, certainly that would be the makings of just absolutely top tier Overwatch. And look, I mean, we've been down that path many, many, many times before. And look, in case people are wondering why we're sitting here talking, not getting the game, I would, as much as I'd love to say the players are weak after my glasses self-destructed earlier, I'm not really going to go that far. But believe it or not, players have to do things like use the bathroom. It's really unbelievable that they would step away from their PCs or they wouldn't be equipped with ways to not have to step away. But it is the world we live in. Sadly, biological reality. But hopefully we should be in game pretty soon here. And by online tournament standards, I'd say our admins have been whipping people in the shape. We've been going into game after game pretty quickly, so can't really complain too much.
I'm wondering though, where are Asking and Decod right now? I mean, location wise, are they playing at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it may be over there? Decod might be over here. I'm not exactly sure, but
I
it
feel
might
like
be
Decod is in the
super late
States,
for
but
them. I
Asking
don't
is
think Asking.
probably also. Yeah, I don't think Asking is here. I'm pretty sure Asking is playing with like 160 ping. But Decod. Since we're filling time and we're gonna go down the deep end here, is that I like to imagine that Decod is in the Carpe school of probably playing underwater. And if he's not playing underwater, I don't know how a fish is actually walking on land. Look, it's just a new era of fish-based Overwatch players. You have Carpe, you have Cod. I'm looking forward to into the future when we get the new era of, perhaps trout and bass. Gonna be good times. Good times.
Waiting on one player to come back from bio. But as we're waiting here, I mean, certainly, I think I have to give a little bit more respect to Asking and the performance that we've seen from him, given the fact that not only are we talking about him being, 140 whatever maybe plus ping. I'm not actually sure if these matches have been on East Coast servers or West Coast. I actually haven't been watching, but if it's East Coast, maybe it's not as bad, but still trying to play something like Genji or something like that with that kind of ping is a lot tougher than playing it on something a little bit more consistent, like 30 or 40 or ideally zero. But you know, on top of everything, playing at like 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is, 4 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure, but that's commendable in itself, and to see him also be probably the star of the show right now. That's insane.
Look, I mean, this is what these tournaments are for, is that you have players that simply have breakout times. And okay, it looks like they're ready. There's some like crazy yarn being spun about Ajax about how Dalton was going to Walmart to buy a cushion, or I don't even know. It is a downside that you guys don't get to see the global chat as it goes on. Where, look, man, if I was running production, you guys would see every last bit of shade that the players had. That's just how it goes. But
They
fortunately,
probably wouldn't have a tournament anymore though.
people have these standards that you don't want to show the players and what they're saying. The new age. Either way, we're heading to Lijiang Tower and we're opened up on the control center.
And opening up on the control center means a lot of tanks, a lot of supports. No surprise there, as expected for sure, and definitely expecting even more so the Annas to be played on either side. Dogman versus Dino. Tale as old as time, eh? I mean, this is a battle of the century with these two pairing up, matching up. And so far, I mean, it has gone back and forth. We've seen both of them shining, even simultaneously, where, Dino has made sick plays and set up his team with a biotic, and then all of a sudden, Dogman can throw things the other way with a sleep dart that shuts down Nero's blade or something like that. I mean, we've seen turnarounds like that between these two where they have really battled out to see who can be the most impactful Ana in the matchup. And so far, I don't think there's really a clear winner.
Not in the least. I think both Dogman and Dino have covered themselves in glory. One's a dog, the other's dinosaur, and Dino very much not extinct. But we're gonna see LNL move out here, and okay, goats be goats. Let's get down. Let's get scrappy. It's gonna happen. Both teams getting into it right away, and Nero gonna fall. Both Brigida's down. It's a Brigida-free environment, but Sugar Free charged up, making it happen here for LNL.
Oh, great support into Gator as well. Sugar Free coming through alongside Dogman. They get the full reset, and that's going to allow last night's leftovers to come away with the point first. And remember, this is Toronto's map pick. We already talked about how when things get scrappy, a map like a control center is exactly that. LNL should have at least some kind of advantage going forward.
One would think. Sugar Free, of course, 83% energy right now, and you look at Asking, obviously getting taken out in the last fight. This is a pretty big edge for LNL as they move in. Sugar Free, though, now it's going to be evened up. Asking all charged up, but you look at Crackalakin just getting melted down. Sugar Free laying all the damage into him, causes the early DMAC, has Graviton built up. You gotta let that fly. You gotta worry about getting eaten, but you also don't need it as the self-destruct from Hawk lays it in, and LNL very much in control.
And while Hawk has been rather quiet, it's not really any problem with him at all. He's able to make these big plays, and finally, it's going to be Gator and Hawk able to make some noise. And I'm making some noise for them especially as well, because really a lot of resources have been thrown into dealing with Gator and Hawk, and finally they're sounding off.
Well, now when you have to look to the next fight, Gator holding onto the Shadow, you gotta look to the Dalton-Gator connection here. It's something that is enough on the other side, and of course it's simple. Shield Bash, Earth Shatter. They could open with the Gravitate, but no, that's a nice Bionade coming in from Dino, puts on the back foot. They're gonna lose Sugar Free immediately. Earth Shatter coming in from Gator off the Nano Boost, still punishes Dino, gets booped around, can't get the Diva as a result. Fight very much in contest, no Graviton available, and yet LNL still gonna seize the edge here. They take the fight. But they did lose control of the point temporarily in the middle of that, so it's not all bad for Toronto.
Look at how much pressure they're putting on Gator and how they're able to keep them alive. Obviously a lot on top of Ajax and Dogman, but what a way to re-enter the fight. A big pivot from Toronto Esports.
Toronto charged up is Asking. He's putting in this DPS chops here. Dogman just gonna fall. And now, back and forth we go. Sugar Free, of course, using grab without a whole lot of results, and Toronto has flipped the script.
And that script will read now. The battle for Graviton's coming up. I mean, we're going to see them posturing up aggressively. Decod going to try to set up for an Earth Shatter. Look for Nero to try to enable that. That's going to be a big setup going forward.
Oh, he gets slept early on. Decod, vulnerable. Needs to get helped on out. And look at that. Asking moves into the shield. Tries to buy Decod some space. Does so successfully. And no, Nero, stun! But it's not in a place where Decod can shatter. The timing a little bit off. Dalton now moving back the other way. Sound barrier up. It's an opportunity now for LNL. But guess what? That shield bash is going back up. Decod drops a hammer right after Gator. Hitting the ground. But you see Dogman going to be healing Gator back up. LNL still fine. They drop a grab of their own. They're coming back the other way. Everyone together. What a nade coming in from Dogman. Everyone going to fall from that one.
Again, just one of those opportunities where we get to see these Annas shine. Dogman, so impressive. And we've seen this, especially as, you know, his teams have gotten better. Time and time again, you see him just showing up and showing out. Gator now with an Earth Shatter of his own. He was patient in that last engagement where he was trying to just keep his shield up as often as possible. Now it's his turn to try to be aggressive and control this objectives for a team. Oh, he just lets it go.
Shadow doesn't do anything. Gator, bit of the out of water there. Asking to drop the grab, 3 together. And Toronto moves in again. Another nice nade, this time from Dino. Chopping his way on over. And Sugar Free, struggle as all you might. It's not going to be enough here. Toronto absolutely going to reflip here. And that's going to set us up for one last final battle. Of course, I said that. Okay, now Sugar Free's dead. It just took a little bit longer and he got an extra win. Fair. One more battle to go.
And so far, I mean, Nero's going to come in. I mean, this is really going to come down to just trying to stretch that fight out for a little bit longer, see if Sugar Free can generate some charge, enable Gator. I think first setup, I think this win is going to come down to who can connect between Brig and the Reinhardt, unless things devolve into Sugar Free allowing the ability to drop the Graviton Surge.
Gator down immediately. Toronto with a big man advantage and the rally. Everyone's armored up. Everyone's totally healthy. Dino about to get the nano boost. He's got to let it go immediately. There's an X Factor vote for LNL. Sugar Free grab, drops immediately, picks up 2. LNL, can they make the turn? Sugar Free trying to be his own fall through. Can't get anything off of that. Decod back the other way. And Toronto starting to secure their edge. It's emergency Hammond time for Gator. Gonna start swinging around, trying to buy some time, and he's doing just that. It's difficult to kill him in that situation, but CC comes in. They force Gator off, and Toronto 1 round away from the grand finals.
Toronto taking it, and certainly in the driver's seat now, but that's the first of 100 to 99s. I said I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 of those, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this go all the way out into a round number 3. And it's possible still that could occur. I mean, we've gotten 1 out of 3 out of the way, and now it'll be last night's leftovers turn potentially here to tie things up yet again. They have been taking the back seat for most of this matchup, but Toronto Esports, you know, they've really been taking it to last night's leftovers, where it's been a rough ride, I think. I mean, last night's leftovers, you look back at Kings Row especially, that's a map where they had a little bit of a struggle, and it's been a back and forth affair so far. Last night's leftovers with the opportunity to get onto the point early and control from here. This is a good start for them if they can hold this choke on the sides of these doors.
LNL was able to get into that point first. Toronto can be a little bit behind early on as a result. Decod gets chunked, but can get healed right back on up. Dino on the job, and now it's both teams jockeying for position. Shield bash out, Decod under pressure, able to survive with it now. Could go back the other way, depending on what Nero can do for Decod. Toronto looking the way in, but Dalton finds Nero. Man advantage here, the LNL, and the early positioning they got from getting to the payload a little bit earlier, from running the Lucio and just getting there just a tiny bit quicker, does work out. Sugar Free has the grab, doesn't need to do it. It's microwave time.
And look how aggressive they're being too, jumping all the way into the spot. Ooh, Dalton with a nice little flick of the wrist takes down Swimmer at the end there. So they're going to pull out with a few ultimates in tow as well, and certainly looking to try to make sure that they maintain Hawk's life, and they do just that. Nice play from Sugar Free.
Here's the problem. How do you deal with Sugar Free? Sugar Free grab, drops on the corner, grabs everyone. Is it count Earth Shatter though? Buys time, and oh, does it buy time from that. Hawk had the self-destruct ready, grabs full. Oh, yeah, everyone's gone.
Oh,
set up by
not
Sugar
everyone?
Free, executed by Hawk. Yeah, team kill.
It's weird that he was able to get for some reason in my kill feed, it says that we saw Hawk get the kill on with the self-destruct onto the mech and then also the baby diva. I think maybe it was a remech that allowed him to get the second kill, if I'm not mistaken, but nonetheless got it.
It's that new perk stolen from COD, just double explosions.
Yeah, why not?
Secret Overwatch additions, I suppose. Asking though. Holding on to the grab. Nano Ryan, here we go. Toronto lands the grab, 3 in it. More Colossus coming out, not going to be enough though. Decon grabbing 2 right off of that Panda Boost grab, and yet LNL kind of holding on. He's going to at least force out the barrier from the Toronto side. They're investing a lot. They're not getting much. Decon and Dino end up falling. They overcommit. Narrow, nowhere to go. And LNL, you know, we said this could go to distance. They're one fight away from bringing this to a round 3.
And doing it with a Moira as well, with Dogman making that switch and providing a lot of healing, and you're going to see Dino actually just mirror that. And this, like you said, this could be the last fight. I thought they would have wanted the Ana to maybe find value with the Biotic and shut them down that way, but they're not going to have that opportunity here. They're going to jump right onto the point, and it's going to be desperation to try to get in there.
They're moving in. Desperation is the name of the game. Hawk gonna just bowl for Toronto. Drops the self-destruct right down the middle. Grabs Dino as a result. 2 early pickoffs to LNL. And here on the night market, LNL says, we're gonna bring this to 3. This match, living up to the hype, the upper bracket here in the Overwatch Beat Invitational goes to its final stage.
Not the 100 to 99 I was expecting, but we still got one more map, man. We still got one more. And like I said, this was going to be a tight one. We've experienced that already, where it's been back and forth, where we've seen, you know, different looks really kind of set teams apart, where they seem, I guess, better off in certain ways. I think going into this matchup here, though, this is an opportunity for Asking to once again shine. I mean, certainly starting off with the Hanzo, that's one opportunity. You know, Widowmaker is another possible pick that they could make. It will require a little bit of support and pocketing, but we know how good he is on this. And I mean, I guess we also know how good he is on Hanzo. He's just been so good throughout the entire day on pretty much everything he's played.
One thing I like about the Hanzo here is that you get the pressure of a sniper class, but you also have the ability of the Dragon in case you run up against something super tanky. So, you know, you don't get quite the level of dominance from a Widow at long range, but it's close enough. And gets Dogman. And as said, enough to do the job. Toronto now, man advantage. Now they can go a little bit further up. They go a little bit too hard. They lose Decod early on. Now 5-on-5. Asking, though, room to work with, looking for that key pickoff once more. And Ajax going for the boop. Hanzo, though, doesn't have to worry about flying, but he got Dino.
How did he even manage to get that? Dino went off the side just barely and almost knocking Asking off. That was sugar-free. They're going to get control. And again, just that slower pace. This is going to favor LNL here, who have control of the point, and they're just going to try to play into that as much as they can.
Oh, Dragon Eden. That's no, not in the least. That my angle was not great on it. Still got sugar-free. Hawk was close. Hawk was close, but Dragon not Eden in the very end, and Toronto off of it, going to be able to roll back over and take the point.
Not only that, but EMP ready to go as well. Nero likely to try to set up for that. Dalton's actually going to swap, and he's going to be battling once again. It's that matchup that we saw earlier. Dalton and Nero, current teammates. That duo that, you know, a lot of people talked about. He's actually going to go over to the Tracer instead, and he is that Tracer that plays with that duo. So it would typically be, you know, Dalton on the Tracer, Nero on the Genji for that classic Season 1 look that they looked so good in.
Oh, Nero has such a good EMP setup here, and yeah, I mean, it's going to ruin the life of his partner here just a little bit. EMP setup, sugar-free, nowhere to go. Everyone was caught in it at the same time. And it's Toronto just able to continue to keep good control over the game here. Nero going to pick up another hack, and they just move forward. They finish off Ajax, and Toronto really asserting dominance here in the game. Dragon, don't know if it's needed, but hey, still works. Dalton hits the pin.
Yeah, by Dalton. But nonetheless, they're going to have an opportunity to come back. But honestly, I mean, it seems like they've really struggled to find any kind of combination that could work out for them. I mean, you know, they weren't going for the EMP look. They weren't going to try to set up Hawk, but they have that self-destruct available. We'll have to see if maybe they can get something done with that, with a positioning change there, and maybe empower someone like Sugar-Free or Gator with this nano boost that's coming from Dogman.
Oh, self-destruct is going to get anything. It does! It gets Sugar-Free mid-rally. That's one way to quell a rally, I suppose. Now 5 members left for LNL, a fight they really must win. They get on asking. They're able to equalize a little bit. They have to invest every support ult they have here because they're fighting for their very lives here in the upper bracket. Dogman in the back, just bionated his team. Can have it back up again, 4 seconds. Gator finds Swimmer, and LNL well on their way to retaking the point, but it's going to be a long way to go here, Hirix.
Absolutely, they got to ward them off the point first, and this is the opportunity here for LNL to get that 199 I was talking about. They have to come back completely, and they have Dalton with the Graviton Surge building right now. That Zarya is so important in these control maps. I mean, if he's able to build that rapidly here, we could see the value in that by being able to take a pretty easy and efficient fight by just using that. If they can do that, because again, this is all about ultimate efficiency to maintain control of this point, maintain your composure in these fights, and it's going to come down to the supports, and it's going to come down to Dalton proving effective on the Zarya.
LNL looking to keep in it here. Narrow has the EMP ready. Earth Shatter out. Narrow tries to deal with the EMP. We'll see if it's enough. Dragon back the other way. Toronto fighting to get back into this, fighting for the win. They take 4. Swimmer with a great boop. Gets Hawk right on out of there. And Toronto comes back in, retakes control. We're in overtime. Do or die for LNL. Sugar Free. Mid-rally. Nano boosted. Nano Brigida. Both supports in his sight. Grabs him. Moves on in. LNL bringing it right on back.
Not only that, but this could be a situation where we see this dragged out into one last fight, and guess who's going to have Graviton? It's Dalton. He's got it finally charged up. Now the question will be, do they have the ability to find kills inside of it? Hawk has a self-destruct. He was able to hold on to it, so I think they do. LNL might have a shot here.
LNL, a chance to send Toronto down to the lower bracket. Dalton with the Graviton. They have the resources they need. Toronto in a very rough shape here. See Swimmer going around the outside. Dalton hacked early on. Dragon going down Broad Street. LNL able to dodge. Dalton moving forward, holding on to the ground. Doesn't want to throw it away. Use it on the back just for asking. When you really want to deal with Hanzo, you do it there. It's going to work out. LNL on the verge of taking the map and the series. It's all cleanup duty from here. And Dalton beating his own team in this matchup. This is looking so good for LNL. Overtime ticking down. They just got to deal with Crackalakin, deal with the final bit of stall. The Hammond is down. Overtime almost over. Dino can't do it. LNL moving to the grand finals.
What a way to close things out, too, in a way that makes me look like some kind of prophet. As I said, exactly what was going to occur. Completely luck, though. But you know what? I'll take it.
See what Hawk did here. Why not? There's a lot of plays in the game. Okay, you just set up on what
nice
Sugar Free was sent down, but still pretty good. Obviously full team kills, so. But you gotta give credit to Sugar Free for landing the grab that made that thing happen.
And that's not it, too. I mean, we just had easily our longest matchup. I mean, it's pretty easy to say, as of course it is a best of 5, but it also went the distance, and that's not the only one we have. It feels like it feels like we've hit the end of the day, but it's not it. We still have one more matchup.
Oh, yeah. We still got time to go. But speaking of time to go here, guys, or no, we have replays before we go to break. Of course we have replays. It was a 5-map set. Let's not jump the gun just because I have to use the bathroom. I was going to the players for being weak, but the reality is that I'm the one with the weak left bladder. It's really the true confessions here as you get into huge hours of casting. But speaking of huge, Shadow from Decod, setting the pace there for Toronto off the shield bash.
And big plays as well from Genjis on both sides. I mean, it wasn't just Nero. We saw things on both sides where it was really just insane level of play. We even talked about the Annas as well, where there was just no clear winner. And it seems like that still remains the case. In any matchup that we have, tank, supports, DPS, whatever it may be, I just feel like there wasn't really a clear winner in any department.
Both teams are playing really well. It's hard to go to a match like this and go, yeah, Matt, you actually weren't doing very well. This was good Overwatch, where not every series that goes to 5 is good Overwatch. Sometimes you get real sloppy, ugly Overwatch where both teams are trying to outfail each other. Wasn't the case here. This was good Overwatch. The teams were playing out of their minds, and it was fantastic to watch. But guys, we still got one more game to go. lower bracket action coming at you before we set the stage for our final games tomorrow. We'll be back after a short break.